Vegas, and welcome to Face the Tribune with your legendary Rolando LaRosse. I'm your co-host, Chris Garcia, and we are so blessed today to be joined by Andrew D. Laporta, and he is the Vice President of Marketing for KIOF 97.9. With that, today, Rolando, how are you feeling?
I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic today. It's a beautiful day. It is not too sunny, but it is a nice day, and I'm standing up.
I was worried about you. You was hiding out in your office in there, and I didn't get to see your beautiful face.
Oh, I was in a meeting.
Okay.
And, once in a while I got to work. Andy, welcome. And
welcome. Thank you very much, Mr. Garcia, Orlando especially, for getting me down here today. One thing.
Orlando is in Florida.
Orlando.
Oh. Rolando is in Las Vegas.
Well, the invite today, we're trying to discuss some issues at Las Vegas Public Radio, because that's what we are.
Yeah.
We're the newest public radio station in Las Vegas.
How many are? Only two?
Well, there's three.
Three?
Well, actually, now there's five, because actually
really?
We do have ABC. There's what they call an ABC Public Radio School. It's an educational public radio station. I don't know. We don't own it. I don't own it, but there is another station. And there's also the Baptist Church up in on the North Las Vegas border.
So why are they giving you such a hard time?
Well, the Corporation of Public Broadcasting is basically they recently denied our application to enter what they call the Community Service Grant process. So they give out grants. And we had to take a look at our history, what we were trying to do. And so basically, we are what they call LP, which is low power. We operate on low power because this came out of what we call the Local Community Radio Act by Congress.
So that's what, 100 miles?
No, that's 100 watts.
100 watts, I'm sorry, yeah.
But in order, you can be a sole provider of services, but there has to be spacing. See, in the communication business, it's like when we talk spectrum. Spectrum is like a distance on your dial, like if you're 101 or whatever, and you move to 102, 3, or 4. So they space the spectrum such that basically the rulemaking for this from the
what's the distance for the low power? How far you can go with the low power?
Within your contour map. It's not how far you can go. They actually give you a map that you have to stay within. In other words, you're supposed to stay within, but yet they breach it themselves.
Okay, so how far can you go? How far you stay?
We're operating right now. Our tower is out on the I-15 and East Cheyenne area. And we go across the valley to Summerlin. We crisscross all the way down past the Bellagio, straight shot on the I-15 going south. We go all the way down to South Point and beyond, almost to the mile marker 18.
Okay, so you reach Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, we're doing all of North Las Vegas. We do. We're a little bit light in Centennial area, up in a new area by Canyon Carroll Road, but then we come back down toward Nellis. We're doing pretty good with our signal.
Is that the station that you are putting your show on, right?
Sure.
Yeah. We're running the show in there?
We're streaming from there. We're streaming worldwide now. We're supposed to be, the idea of the Local Community Radio Act was to be involved with local community. But in today's technology age, what about people who are trying to come to Las Vegas? See, aren't they part of our community trying to come in here? See, so today the parameters are and the actual ball game has changed. Even though they say that you stay within your community radio map. Now that's like a freedom of speech issue.
But Andy, what is the problem that the
Corporation of Public
Well,
they denied our request for funding because basically all public radio stations are funded through the Corporation of Public Broadcasting. When Congress set up public broadcasting, like you have public broadcasting set up, it was set up to fund, and it was the beginning mainstay for radio, public radio.
Okay.
So what happened was the big radio stations started, it's just like, if I can just give you an analogy. If you go back to Glass-Steagall, which was Glass-Steagall, where they allowed banks to crisscross, leave North Carolina, Bank of America, whatever, leave North, go into Florida, that started interstate banking. So as these public radio stations began to grow, they began to get more stations because they were getting more financing. But that financing was supposed to be for just their station, not for growth purposes. But in today's day and age, we find that with the Corporation of Public Broadcasting, they annually rubber stamp applications for the big old boys, okay, to make sure they get their percentage, their cut, okay, because that's what it is. It's a cut of the federal funding that comes through Congress that's appropriated. And in the last year or so, it was like $474 million to go around 50 states. You got all small states like Idaho, there's only just a few stations. So the bigger areas, metropolitan areas, they get a little bit more. But the idea of them not being able to, accommodate us is based on several different factors. One is which you got to play by the rules. And when they give us their requirements in writing, okay, the requirements are supposed to be for everybody that's an applicant. They have to have a fair playing field. Okay. That doesn't exist with the Corporation of Public Broadcasting. Because as an entrant,
and the Corporation of Public Broadcasting is the ones that they control
the money. Yeah.
They control the money.
The money. They control the money for.
But they don't control the other public radios.
No, they're independent. That's
right. They all independent.
They're all independent. But
you have to follow FCC rules.
Yeah, everybody has to follow FCC rules. So what you can say, can't say on the air. And because basically, our rules are so strict. Like, for instance, underwriting. They take the small stations, they expect them to go out and get underwriting from corporations or whatever. So basically, it's like inventory. FIFO and LIFO, first in, first out, or LIFO, last in, first out, whatever. So if you're last, like we're the 26th newest radio station, a public station here in Las Vegas. So if the market's been picked clean, how does a small station, a startup station, expected to get underwriting? Okay, so well, I'm sorry, but that's the free marketplace. I agree with the free marketplace, but what we don't agree with is how the Local Community Radio Act was penned into existence and signed by 3 different presidents. First, President Bill Clinton, he reluctantly signed it because he didn't want that, because basically the lobbyists were coming in at that time, pouring into Washington. So the lobbyists at the time, in 2000, when he signed a little bit of it, the lobbyists went into Washington and they lobbied for interference issues. Well, there's no interference issues. If you're on Henderson and you have a 100,000 watt station, and then you have a little 100-watt station, that's like 1,000 times. There's going to be an issue with your signal. That wasn't an issue. And how do we know that? Because we recently asked the United States Air Force to go out and conduct a study. And they did. It's called, the study that they did was SOOP, S-O-O-P, Signals of Opportunity. Actually, they were fusion signals of opportunity, where you're fusing different things. And henceforth, that's how we got to operate in North Las Vegas with our tower. Because they saw that cell towers, the cell signals and radio signals, FM signals, are seamless and unnoticeable. So if they're seamless and unnoticeable, why did Bill Clinton not want to increase the power at the time in the year 2000? Because of the original application through the government at the time to be signed into law was 1,000 watts. He killed it. And they watered it down to 100 watts. Because freedom of speech, again, getting the word out there, that was the next, what we think they were thinking. Yeah. So basically, he goes, and in comes President George W. Bush. And George W. Bush came in, and he could see that there was a great need for community-based radio stations. Why? Because the propaganda that was coming through the national NPR, okay, which was an arm, by they had favor.
Favored the Democrats.
They favored. So when George W. Bush came in, he tried to fight a little bit for the small guy. It didn't go off that well either, because the lobbyists for not only the Nevada broadcast people, Nevada broadcasters, they have lobbyists too in Washington. By the way, the law firm that represents 46 out of 50 states that lobbied against us comes out of the Pillsbury law firm out of Washington, D.C. And they're strong lobbyists.
Let me ask you something.
They wrote this stuff into law.
Let me ask you, all the public radios are 501F?
501c3s.
They all have to be that way?
Yeah, to get to the money, because you have to have a board of.
Forget about the money now. My question is, they all have to be non-profit?
No, yes.
They cannot be profit.
It cannot be profit. There's a big world of difference out there. Commercial radio sells commercial ads, just like a newspaper company.
Okay, but assuming that you don't want any money from the National Broadcasting
Corporation.
Radio. Okay.
CPD.
Do you have to be?
No, you do not. You can still go out and get your own donations, but the advertising, once again, you still have the strict rules dangling in your face about the FCC.
Yeah, I guess I'm not asking the right question, or maybe my English is not too good today. Do you have to be a non-profit in order to own a low power radio station?
Well, the windows of opportunity are strict. What they do is they open windows up at certain times with the Federal Communications Commission.
Andy, listen to what I'm saying.
Yes.
The public radio has to be a non-profit organization.
Yes.
They have to
Yes.
be.
Yes.
You cannot say, I don't want any money from you. I just wanted to have a low-powered radio station.
Yes. But you still have to be being a public radio station, you have to be nonprofit. Absolutely.
Okay, what about if you're not a public radio station?
What
about if you are a low power?
Or just a low power?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, when the windows open up of opportunity, they'll tell you what window is open, like if this is for public radio or if this is commercial radio. So if you're on the FM commercial band, yeah, you can do that, but you're still not, you're talking to the public. Okay, you're accepting commercials from the public, but the true public radio station has what they call a public board of directors, or the control. So we're talking control here. So basically the control shifts.
Yeah, everything you do with the government, they control. That's
this whole,
right?
Exactly.
So on your public station, any show that is to broadcast on your station cannot run commercials for profit.
Exactly.
Okay, can you?
That would go against what we're trying to do here. We're trying to
definitely. Can you reverse your station to commercial?
Well, if you
no
open
power
up a window after 3 years, after being a public station for 3 years,
you can
they'll give you some options at that point. They do open up for options.
How long you been open now?
Well, our first year, this is year number 1. We're starting to enter our second year on March 20. And that's why we're very concerned, because without the funds coming to us from the Corporation of Public Broadcasting, and it's only going to the larger stations. By the way, the larger stations.
What do you call the largest station?
These are the stations that get the most money.
Well, how do you call the largest station? NBC, CBS?
There you go. Yes.
But they are not.
But they're commercial. Only if they're public, taking from public monies from the government. If you become on corporate welfare. See, actually, when you enter this program,
I don't understand. I really don't.
If you enter into the corporate, the way the laws are written is very nebulous. It's hard for the average person to understand.
But at that point, if you started taking corporate welfare, basically they would run your station. They would set the rules. They would tell you what to do.
Well, they tell us what
they do now.
They do now. They tell you what you can put over the airways.
Okay.
You can't solicit any commercial.
What about if they don't give you any money? They refuse to give you money, you said?
Yes. So then we rely on donations to the station. We rely on private donors or endowments from trusts.
Right. But you still can't run commercials.
We just can't run commercials. What we can do is we can say one of our largest partners in this, we're an affiliate of T-Mobile. So T-Mobile runs, they run on our station, but we give their website, or we can say what they offer as a service, but there can't be any mention of inducements to buy their services. There's no money. You can't mention a price. You can't mention a discount, and things like that.
But can you say we're brought to you by T-Mobile?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We do that now. We do that now.
Okay. So what my point is this: if they don't want to give you any money,
I don't know why they don't want to give us any money.
If they don't want to give you any money, you said, okay, so give me the opportunity of avoiding the next 2 years and give me the commercial license.
No, they have to wait. It's a waiting game. Everything in the government.
Yeah, but it cannot be that all the time they wait. If they don't want to give you any money, they should give you the opportunity to become a commercial.
Rolando, this is exactly what Donald Trump, our next president has been fighting. The regulations in Washington, the stipulations for the small business person like ourselves.
Okay.
This is what he's fighting for right now, our rights. Get rid of the regulations as they're written, because basically there's a lot of them are self-serving. So if it's good for the good of
Charlie Shoemaker is the one who's in charge of that, right? Senator Shoemaker? That's what I know.
So, yes, sir. Yeah.
well, basically,
Shoemaker. Yeah.
well, we're relying on the U.S. attorney coming in, incoming, Jeff Sessions from Alabama,
Yeah.
and he's pretty good on, being fair with all the people. And if he's going to be running that U.S. attorney's office, hopefully he'll take a look at this.
Well, if he's a
What's going
senator,
on?
if he's a senator and he's going to be an attorney general, that means he is part of the government, so he cannot be fair. There's nobody in the government that can be fair.
Well, what we're looking at now,
Right.
and we have our own private attorneys too. We have our own private attorneys, telecommunications attorneys looking at it too. And so basically, what we're looking
So
at
how much
now,
money you spend on your attorneys?
well, a lot of it's pro bono, to be honest with you.
Huh?
A lot of it's pro bono.
Really?
Yes.
Well, you're lucky. I can't find any attorney to do pro
Well,
bono.
because this affects the bottom line here is our constitutional rights, because they're violating under Article 14, okay,
Uh-huh.
of our Article 14, our Constitution. They're violating our rights to due process. Because when we first made application to the Corporation of Public Broadcasting,
Uh-huh.
they have now inside, they didn't have this all the time. They always had like an ombudsman controlling the finances, but now they got what they call inspector general. See, that's one thing that they've done in the past few years. They come up with what they call an inspector general's position. They got them in government, Office of Budget Management. They got them all over the place. But try to get to them. They never answer our emails. They do not answer not only our emails, correspondence. They don't give you a straight answer. They don't come up. We've actually challenged their whole process and their policies, saying that the application process is discriminatory, it's exclusionary, and it's confiscatory in nature as it's written. So we've challenged them, and now they don't get back to you. See, they get silent, because silence is golden, and indecision becomes a decision. See? So they're saying it's closed door, we don't do business with you because you've exposed us. See, when a big operation is exposed, they divorce themselves with you entirely because you're truthful. And what you're trying to gain here is what the truth is about. So the truth of the matter is that the Corporation of Public Broadcasting allows people already in their system. These are radio stations already in their systems. They will give them waivers. They will help them with side projects like that. Why? To circumvent certain areas. I'll give you two examples. One is the non-federal financial support that radio stations are supposed to raise so much money. In the regulations that we were under, it said that we had to raise $175,000 of non-federal financial support, which we can prove we can do that. If they would work with us. Originally on our application, we applied as a sole service provider, because we figured we were the only low-power public radio station in Las Vegas.
Uh-huh.
But they came back and they said, well, look, we'll determine what you are. Are you a level A, which would be sole provider, which means there's no other public radio station within 50 miles. And there is public radio station. But we went in as a LP because of all the regulations affecting just us. In other words, we don't have the same regulations that the bigger stations have. See, they play by what they call primary and secondary services.
So you are a
secondary service. But yet we were expected right out the gate to provide public safety, which meant that out the gate we had to provide a source, which is our index service for public safety announcements coming through, emergency broadcasts, because they're worried about what? Terrorism, fires, police work. So we've had to set all that up at our radio station.
Yeah.
So then we found out later that along the path, within 6 months, the FCC came back and said, "No, you don't need it." But we already spent the thousands of dollars putting it in. See, they changed the rules in the middle of the ballgame too. They're no different. The FCC is no different than the Corporation of Public Broadcasting. So $175,000 is what we were supposed to raise, and we've done that. But now, our application process was based on the October 2015 requirements at the time that they had on their website, because we did all this electronically, because they expect you to be able to do things electronically in this day and age. Well, we did everything they asked for. We came back and they wouldn't get back to us. We said, okay, we could do this. But you're the ones that are saying that we are now a level B, secondary service. And then the second item was what they called, they hit us on, they dinged us on, said we were denying it, was on your audience service criteria. Well, audience service criteria is the biggest farce, the most deplorable issue you can ever think about. Think about this.
Don't use that word. That's Hillary Clinton only can use that word.
Well, they rely on Nielsen ratings, which is bought by Arbitron.
Right.
So basically, Nielsen ratings dominate. Like right here, talk radio right here in Las Vegas has the highest ratings. Talk show, and I'm not going to list all the stations, but the station, it's a commercial station that talk radio.
Right,
it's got
847,
8.4, and the rate, it's 8.4. There you got it. It's 8 point whatever. So now, when you look at the public radio stations, the largest public radio station here has only a 1.6 rating. Now, wait a minute now. They just gave 11% of their budget back to them. See? A smaller station is not even listed. These are the people that they work with in their system to circumvent, okay, the Arbitron ratings, what they call the Nielsen Arbitron ratings. Right. Because Arbitron and Nielsen themselves, they're like the government with this fiat money. They invent money every day. They invent, what happens with Nielsen, they invent their own substance. For instance, how can they see, now we have electronic devices, Android devices in our hands. How can they see who's listening to the radio station? They don't count that. See, it's not counted. That person out there that's listening on an Android is not counted in Nielsen ratings. Well, we may have more listeners with the millennials than we do with the Generation X or whatever. So see, our contentions are that the evidence is compelling, over compelling, that what they're doing is wrong. Because they're saying they're playing God. See, Nielsen ratings play God. We can see and we can give you a number how many listeners you got. Remember Donald Trump, during the campaign, he says, the heck with the pollsters. It's all about the data. Well, let me tell you something. It is about the data. Because if we can prove the data, then we can say that the ratings are okay. But they can't. They cannot prove on an Android device or on a cell phone or whatever that person is, first of all, they're not even a robot. They can't prove that. They can rig the system, and it's rigged. See? So basically, the Nielsen ratings are a farce. And we told them, we challenged that with the Corporation of Public Broadcasting. Never get back to you. They never will get back once you challenge one of their requirements. Like, prove to me. Give me scientific proof that the Nielsen ratings are operable, and they're not guesstimates. So everything in Nielsen ratings is a guesstimate. They can't see through the wires. There might be a senior citizen, it could be a male or female listening at their home out in Summerlin. They're telling me they can see through the wires and count that person on their quarterly report that they have to submit, their monthly quarterly report. So the whole thing is a farce. And they know it in this day and age. They've been caught up with brilliant young minds sorting this stuff out.
Right.
And they don't want to deal with it. The idea is just don't call them, don't deal with them, push it, sweep it under the carpet, and it goes away.
You mean don't call you?
Don't even get in touch with us. You can call right now and ask for an application from the Nielsen ratings. By the way, these things cost money.
Right.
There's a price on everything. They're a commercial entity that's fed by Corporation of Public Broadcasting. Because why? They require it in their regulations that you have to come up with Nielsen numbers that they will tell you what they are. So if you're based on your population. So we serve approximately 400,000 people right here in Las Vegas. So they're saying, okay, guess what? You have to provide a look-back period of 3 years before we'll let you come into play with us. Now wait a minute. A new station coming online has got to wait 3 years
for a false
report?
Are you licensed?
Absolutely, by the FCC. It's all on our website. Totally transparent.
Do you have a business license?
Absolutely.
From the city of Las Vegas?
Not only that, from the state of Nevada.
Of course, now you have to be. Yeah. You are forced now to have a
We are fully licensed and we're fully vetted by the FCC.
And
we're a player.
Okay, so the only thing that is interfering with your peace of mind right now, it is the money.
Correct. Well, why aren't we? Because the Corporation of Public Broadcasting was set up to sustain public radio stations. That doesn't mean you sustain them forever. Because you've got stations out here that have been in their system for 20 years. And some of them have been getting $500,000, Orlando, every single year. So you take that over and say, the look-back period, right here in Las Vegas, we did a look-back period. Over the last 5 years, you've got stations getting pretty much $500,000 from
From
taxpayers' money, not my money, taxpayers' money, that have an annual budget of $4 million. Well, that's like 11% of their budget. They're giving it back. The kickback is 11% of the budget. So they're getting free money, free taxpayer money that they don't need because why? Their operating budgets are now sustainable. They should be taken out of the system. They should have been taken out years ago.
That is exactly what I'm saying. Do you understand what he's saying?
Yes, I do.
So the public
but I believe that they have you in a quandary, and it's going to be hard for you to grow your station.
Well, sure, because you're not going to be able to produce those Nielsen rating reports for 3 years. And by the way, even if you produce them, there's no guarantee they take them. See, the idea is the people that are on the board of directors of the Corporation of Public Broadcasting, you have to remember this, folks out there. The Corporation of Public Broadcasting is a private corporation funded by the American people. Well, listen to that BS. They're a private corporation because it's like the government can't be in the banking business, but they'll give the banks.
Well, we are Americans.
Yeah.
So it's not American people. We are American people.
Exactly.
Once you live here, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that in order to own a radio station, you have to be a legal resident or a permanent resident. Or
We've been here a long time.
really?
Las Vegas. We've been in Las Vegas. My personal family's been in Vegas 7 years. We came from originally Arizona. We were in Arizona for 8-9 years.
But I mean, you've been in the United States, right?
I'm a United States Honorable Vietnam era Navy veteran.
God bless you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. But that's my point. You are legitimate, you are legal, you are not, you don't come here from Canada or Russia or any other.
Gentlemen, I was vetted by the Arizona Superior Court. I taught in a detention center for 6 years trying to bring young folks around in Mojave County. Mojave County was the seat.
With Jerry Hill?
Mojave County he was before me, by the way. Mojave County was the seat, is the seat today for Lake Havasu and also for Bullhead City and Kingman. I taught for 6 years with Judge Kahn down there and a bunch of other beautiful people trying to bring kids that were.
But that was when Jerry Hill was the sheriff?
At the time? No. The sheriff at the time, no.
Who was it? Joe Arpaio?
No, you're talking. You're down in the Phoenix area.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Joe Arpaio was never in Mojave County.
Oh, Mojave County.
Mojave
Okay,
County.
I'm sorry.
Judge Sheehan. Sheriff Sheehan. Sheehan is the judge. Is sheriff.
I know, but
Sheehan. Tom Sheehan is the sheriff down in Mojave County and Kingman, Arizona.
how long he's been the sheriff?
Oh, he's been there for a long time. The Tom and I are, go back a long time because I was under his auspices too.
Because I used to know a sheriff in Kingman. Then
Tom Sheehan.
I don't remember his name. He got 2 daughters, and I don't remember his name now. He was a very nice guy.
So how you guys supplement your income at the radio station now?
At the radio station now, we've gotten some donations. Well, we've got people that have come forward helping us. The donation levels are light, but they're still there. But we planned for it before we started. We started out as a private radio station, by the way, and then we went public after the first year on. Because
what's the difference between private radio station?
Because you can collect the commercial.
This is a private radio station.
So you can go out and do commercials. Yeah. Privately we do commercials. But with public radio stations, once again, you can't go that route. You've got to go the underwriting route. You got to go donation route, the gift route.
So let me ask you a stupid question. If you already was a private radio station, why do you went to public radio?
I'll tell you why. My dad was a U.S. Marine, United States Marine. My brother-in-law was my best friend. My wife's brother was his best friend. He was a captain in the United States Army. He was shot in Vietnam, got the Purple Heart. He was left for dead.
What did that have to do with
Because we knew that here there's Nellis Air Force Base right nearby. We knew that there are a lot of people that retire from Nellis or retire in the military come here because it's a senior area to retire. Henceforth, that's why I was here. So basically I said I want to bring in young people, teach them the radio business, Well, you just saw what happened at the college. There was going to be a takeover at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and that was killed. And by the way, we participated in that too, to help kill it. Because I sent personally, there were 11 regents at the time. I all sent
You mean for the
encroachment. The encroachment from a public radio station trying to take over the college station. And they're already a 501c3.
That was the Greenspan radio station, right?
Yeah, it still is. Because we wrote to the regents and we told them, because that roll-on was never put out to bid. The University of Nevada, Las Vegas, they were encroached upon by a public radio station, but it was never put out to bid. See, the idea is if you're a public state, University of Nevada, Las Vegas gets public money, taxpayer money. It's a higher education, state money. But so anything state-wise, it's supposed to be put out to bid. Right. It was never put out to bid. So the station coming in was going to use that as what? Their ratings were starting to slip, so they were probably trying to go out and get some business through the millennials at the college. They're going to try and crank that up to reinforce their numbers, because that's what it is. It's a numbers game. And I have no problems with that. That's the free marketplace. But you still got to put stuff out to bid. If you're a public entity, it's like being say you were city of Las Vegas, or you're state of Nevada, and you're a public entity. You have to put everything out to bid. You have to have a request for proposals. There's a systematic methodology, and they didn't do that. And they got caught with their hand in a cookie jar, and that's why it was killed. The regents knew they'd never put it out to bid, but yet they do things crazily anyways. They just gave their top guy down there $350,000 to stay home for a year, and he took a walk because he plagiarized. We all know what happened there. He plagiarized the report, and he
I don't know. Maybe I am too stupid, or maybe I am too independent. But if I had a private radio station, I would have never go public.
But you got to remember.
I would never go
But you have to remember at the time.
We did that over here. We used to teach kids how to operate the radio station, and we have several children. They were young kids, not children, but young kids. Then on Saturday, all day long, they were the only request that we made is that one of the parents have to be there. We cannot babysit.
You can be a public radio station, but the owners of the station can be private. The ownership can be held differently. See, this is what I'm saying about regulations. They twist and they turn.
Yes, I guess so.
If you're a public radio station, once again, the owners can be private. So when we first started the station, because we were the founding people, okay, of the station, the group of people that founded it, and it's all on our website, by the way. There's a history you can take a look at as to how it came to be. But those people today still own the station. But public monies are separate from that station.
Is Greenspan on that radio station?
I don't know that answer. I've never researched the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. But the Hank Greenspan communication, I love that place down there. Matter of fact, the only thing that irks me about UNLV is that free speech zone. That they should resign. Every single region down there should resign today for letting that go in there, because we're teaching youngsters, and I taught school for a long time. I was
a socialist?
No, not
they already socialist.
No, but the idea is that you're taking away their ability to think. You're taking away their ability to think. When you have a free speech zone outside the Boyd School of Law, by the way, that's where it is. I went down there to talk to students. And I'm always down there.
Right next to my school. I went to the School of Economics.
Well, they got a few tents set up down there. They got a few tents. They have the kids go over if you want to talk a little chat. Why not chat in the classroom where the Constitution is being discussed?
That's right.
That's the question here. And I talked to you earlier about.
And that's the same people that are trying to make UNLV a sanctuary institution.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Are they the same?
Well, the regents. The regents control the purse strings. They control
the regents are the ones that want to make it a sanctuary. It's not the students.
Well, I don't know. I haven't researched everything the last.
No. Wait a minute.
I know sanctuary. I know what you're saying about having a sanctuary there. I know what happened with the professor there about how he came out in the classroom, what he said. But basically, those are areas that are really, really great to talk about, because that's freedom of speech.
Right.
We're revered in our Constitution. And that's what they're trying to water down. And that's what I think the Corporation of Public Broadcasting in Washington, D.C. doesn't want us
to do
the same thing.
The only problem with the free speech at those sanctuary places is then it's a free speech as long as you agree with their mentality and their way of being. That's all it is. If the Democrats are very much for free speech as long as you think like they do.
Well, I think that I think that when you look at it, being an American, and we all put our hand on the Constitution upheld on the Bible.
There's a difference between being an American and being a Democrat.
We put our hand on the Constitution to uphold the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah.
You have to have a rule of law or you're going to have chaos. So if what's happened with this past election, what we're seeing right now with Electoral College, we're seeing that our founding fathers originally did not believe in mob rule. What you're talking about now, these sanctuary, that becomes mob rule. So
but let me ask you, because, I am a little bit of a mentally retarded and I don't understand so much. It's always been the electoral vote who elect the president, right?
Well, that's the scapegoat, though. But that still is the scapegoat. See, that was built in.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, but they built it in. When we look at our founding fathers, they were slave owners.
No, but what I'm saying is, try to understand what I'm asking you. It's been for a long time since it's been.
It's a safeguard built into our Constitution.
Whatever it is,
because they didn't want.
It is electoral vote. It's been in effect for many, many, many years. Okay, so why now they want to change it? Because Donald Trump won with the electoral vote?
Well,
is that what it is?
Well, it was set up to allow small states to have a
Andy, I don't care how it was set up, why it was set up. It was set up long time ago.
The question here is democracy an illusion? That's what you're.
It is an illusion.
Well, why is it an illusion? Is it because of the Constitution?
Because we let them do it that way. Because we, the people, allowed them to give us that illusion. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're right, and then you're wrong. Because basically, there were only 13 colonies at the time.
I'm either straight or I'm gay. One of the two. I cannot be boss.
Well, can I have a...
I can afford to be bisexual because I don't have the money to buy sex. So...
Well, there were only 13 colonies at the time. And one of the 13, Rhode Island, never went along with it. They were never at the table. At that convention in Philadelphia, they were never at the table. They actually went home. Why? Because that was one of the things they talked about. This thing, you had a majority vote, 51 to 50, or 51 to 49, excuse me.
Yes.
That was majority vote. That all went by the wayside, and it's gone by the wayside. I'll give you two great examples recently in our history. One is, number one, when Gore lost the vote in the year 2000, Bush Gore vote, right? When he lost it, he actually had 500,000 more votes than at the time, right? He had 500,000 more votes than Bush.
But not the electoral.
But Catherine Harris, the Secretary of State in Florida, signed off that Florida had won the Florida vote at 8 o'clock at night. And guess what? There were still over 100,000 people standing in line in Broward County waiting to vote. And no one would go home until everybody voted. But she signed off at like 8 o'clock at night. Now, take it from me originally. I'm a native of Connecticut. At 8 o'clock comes in the state of Connecticut, if there's 50 people standing in line, nobody moves, okay, until the last person voted. And then the votes are counted. They say, well, they got to shut off. They got to shut off at some time.
Right.
Well, that's one example. That's what she did. And she got an ambassadorship to Chad. Philosophical. The second thing was the U.S. Supreme. By the way, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled on that. The Supreme Court said, let's shut down the voting in December. We got to get on with the business of the country. The business of the country was to elect the President of the United States. We should still be counting and getting it all sorted out if it took a year. It doesn't happen like that in a democracy that's an illusion. The same thing happened to Al Franken in Minnesota. Remember Al Franken, the senator, Minnesota? He won the vote, but they weren't sure. So at the time, there was a challenge. Like Stein just made a challenge to it, all right? Even though she got only 1% of the vote. So Al Franken, they said, here's what the Supreme Court said. Oh, no, we got to keep counting. Why? They needed that 60th vote now. They changed the rules in the Senate to have 60 be a majority. So instead of 51 to 49 being a majority, They changed their own rules. They're in their own ballgame called American democracy.
Who created the electoral vote?
Electoral College, our founding fathers.
So it's that far back.
Well, let's take a look, because basically two of them weren't even in the country at the time. Thomas Jefferson was in France making a deal with the Louisiana Purchase at the time. But John Adams, our second president of the United States, by the way, what was he doing in England? Of course, they didn't have the transportation that we have today.
I don't know. He didn't tell me what he was.
But if you look at the Constitution as it was signed, the original Constitution was signed, there's signatures missing there. Go take a look at it. I've looked at it. Is Jefferson, is his signature on that? Take a look. Word of mouth, maybe. Hey, this is how he's voted down the road. Well, when you take a good look at that Constitution, does it shrivel upon close examination? Not really, but certain aspects will, because they've never been challenged. And see, in this day and age, you're going to see the millenniums are going to rise up in the United States of America, not for mob rule. They want answers. Because is the Constitution that was written in 1787 the same? By the way, what was John Adams doing in England at the time when the Constitution was going off? Remember, 1776 is when we earned our independence.
Right.
But why did it take 11 years to come up with a Constitution? And here's the only answer we could research. We had 4 universities research this. It was because John Adams was there to find out about the mineral rights and make a treaty with England for the mineral rights under America. The gold, the silver, the platinum, right, okay, and the copper. That's the only reason he was over there. Did we make a treaty with Japan? No, we defeated them, sat there in the Missouri, okay? They penned it out on the USS Missouri, and that's it. These are our regulations now. This is what we want you to do. But that didn't happen with England. And the second thing happened with England, to bring to mind real quick, is the Monroe Doctrine. The Monroe Doctrine was set up so that no foreign adversaries would come into the Western Hemisphere of the North and South America. Why did the United States government allow England to go into the Falkland Islands down in Argentina, okay, when the Falkland Islands had the French were on one side of the archipelago, and on the other side was the British. They came in with their troops because they had strong navies at the time, right? Remember, everything was archaic, but it was still a strong navy. But why did we let them come into our hemisphere when the Monroe Doctrine was already written? You take a look at the dates when these things went up. So it happens for reasons. And the reason given to me was not because of gold, silver, and copper in Argentina, Andrew. It was because of the oil. They want to start drilling.
Let me ask you, Andy, let me ask you something, because we got 5 minutes, I believe, right?
You ever gonna have me back?
Yes, I can have you back. Or you can stay for, you have a guest today?
No, I don't.
You got a show already prepared?
And he's welcome.
Well,
You want to stay
I
for
just
this
talk
show?
about the rules still, because we got into the rulemaking.
Well, I think it's important if you like to stay for this show,
I will.
you know, but I wanted to know how the Las Vegas Tribune and Radio Tribune can help you to achieve your goals. How can we help you to operate that radio station that can be of service to the public without the government interference?
Well, it could just take a written agreement. Number one, you know, you have a legal written. There's instruments you can go. For $1, I could sell this whole station to the Tribune, whatever. I mean, that would have to be agreed upon, of course, by the people, but you don't know. I said earlier, basically, we went from a private to a public entity. Why? Because I believe so much in our Constitution. I believe in fairness. That same brother-in-law, who was my best friend, by the way, died of Agent Orange. And that's sad. And he was a surgeon. He was a Yale graduate.
I was going to show you my Constitution, but I'm broke. I can't show you my Constitution. That is, money is the Constitution nowadays, unfortunately.
As a tribute to every fallen American that's written on the Vietnam Memorial Wall or whatever wall it's at. They even have a Vietnam Memorial Wall, travels around our country, show and tell the people, which is excellent. But my whole idea is, you know, as you get a little older in life, you get what? More wisdom. You know, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Let me ask you, let me go back to life, to now. Can you guys have an opinion in the radio, on the air? Can you guys be
We can. We can
You
come
can.
up with, what we can do is this.
No?
We cannot, two things we can't do. We can't take political sides. That's what he's thinking. We can't take political sides, but what we can do, we can separate ourselves, okay? Become a person on the air, okay? There's ways you can do this. Like we had, during this last election, we had someone come
Give
on
me
the air.
some quick
Okay,
example,
yeah.
because I get 3 minutes.
Okay. We had a request for a political candidate to come on the air.
Uh-huh.
Okay, which you can honor or you cannot honor. You have a choice.
Okay, go ahead.
You have a choice. So we decided to honor it. But it became a special newscast. We got in touch with the FCC attorneys in Washington, D.C. They told us how to do it. They said you got to separate out.
How do you separate?
And you have to ask the questions. See, the candidate can't come in, okay, and ask any questions. We, as a public radio station, can ask questions of the candidate. And that's the only way you separate.
That's the way it is.
That's the way it is.
When they come here, we ask the question, don't we?
We ask the question.
Yeah, they cannot ask us questions.
But you also are a citizen. Think about this with Citizens United for a minute. We all know about Citizens. You want to go to the second hour?
No, we're going to visual.
Citizens United was set up to get dark money. And of course now big stations are fighting that. Commercial stations love it. Public radio stations can't get any of that money. Why? Because once again, the apples and oranges. Say public versus private. And this is like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Fannie Mae.
So what do you think?
Is the Federal Reserve
What do you think is much better for you? To be a private or be a public radio?
Well, once again, we're not in it for the dough. We never were in it for the dough. We were in it to what? You say, well, why are you in it?
We are.
Well, you know why? I was a mortician also in my lifetime. I actually owned a funeral home. I know how fast this life comes and goes.
Right.
You cannot convince a person more than myself.
Okay.
And it comes and goes very quickly. Here you are. You can go out today and ask Mr.
Well,
Hilton.
I hate to disagree with
you. Can't do it.
I hate to disagree. If you are not in this business for the money, then why do you go to public radio?
Because of freedom
Why?
of speech.
Because you freedom of speech when they control what you said?
Well,
freedom of speech when they control your
The
money?
thing about it, I believe that,
I believe in the Constitution. I believe in freedom of speech. And this is what newspapers are fighting
But
for.
why are you going to public radio when they're going to control you?
he will be profitable, but it's going to take him some time. I believe after they make you jump through the loops in 3 years, and I think that's what's frustrating you is all the loops.
No, they put in 3 years because in 3 years they know if he's going to be a very good, obedient little kid, then he's going to do what the government tells you to do.
Get federal funding. He's going to get a lot of federal funding.
I don't think it's going to happen because I went and I underscored the Inspector General for the Corporation of Public Broadcasting. She will never, ever, because they're a shadow organization, and I proved it to them. Because of the public monies. I actually have reports. I can show them the look-back periods of stations, not only in Nevada, all over America. Because we've been working very hard to prove our case. Because we're thinking, well, what?
Andy, we got to go, so we're going to keep you on for Conservative America.
No, you stay. You stay for his show.
Second show. Thank you so much, Andy, for being on our show. And thank you, Rolando, the legendary Rolando LaRosse. He's the only person like this in the entire world. This guy knows what he's talking about.
Oh, he's honest. He's fair. That's why I'm sitting here.
Thank you so much for having us on your show. And again, RadioTribune.com, Monday through Friday, live stream, Face the Tribune with Rolando LaRosse. You can watch Monday through Friday and call in 702-983-0711 if you would like to talk to us live. Thank you so much for listening. God bless America and God bless our troops all over the world.